Oh, now it's recording.
It's recording.
There you go.
Thank you.
And I can't see Grant's face at all. Oh my god.
Oh, sorry, I'll fix it.
How do you think like the coronavirus and all the stuff that's going on right now is impacting the music industry in general, and how do you think it'll impact it moving forward? And any of you can answer, all of you, or however you want to do it.
I don't know. Let me think on that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like, it's just so. I guess the buzzwords of 2020 are unprecedented and uncertain. I feel like I've heard and said those words more often than anything else.
Yeah.
Maybe aside from and the. But yeah, it's just like I don't know anyone who has like ever been faced with like the prospect of you can't play shows for the next like however long this will last. And like even then the estimates range from like end of summer to like end of 2021. So it's very strange. And I guess to speak on like how the music industry as a whole is reacting, it's just kind of like everyone's just up in the air and like doing what they can in the moment, which is really interesting because like you'd think that like for bands and whatnot, and I'm sure some people make this work, but you'd think that like for bands everything is very just like, oh, you put stuff out as you go and like you kind of just like react and act and whatnot, but like there really is a definite like schedule for things. Like being with a record label, like we recorded an album and they have like their whole 7-month process before the album can come out, where they have to do like press and like distribution and all that jazz. And so there's all these like kind of currents and flows that are happening that are now it's like no one really knows how to adjust those. Like our album's still going to come out in the summer, but like everything around that, like touring and like radio stuff, is so uncertain that it's like no one really knows the best practice anymore. I feel like that's like the main thing.
Yeah. And like I know most of like the money that you make is coming from touring and like selling merch and stuff like that, so that's a hold on that's really hard too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I guess the reaction to that, like in the music industry, with like on both the like label industry side and on the audience side, is like people are really coming together to support the artists in a way that I haven't seen before. Like all sorts of labels, like our label New West is putting together a compilation album of like all the artists on the label and like putting it on Bandcamp, and they're not taking a cut of the sales from that, which is really cool. And I've seen the same thing goes for like Burger Records, just released a whole 7-volume compilation. And yeah, and then like fans everywhere are like so eager to give their support, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then in turn, like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was actually gonna ask, like, if you've noticed, like, since that Bandcamp, like, all the proceeds started going to you guys, and like, have you noticed more people like listening on there and purchasing things, and like more of a kind of crowd coming towards like listening to you on streaming services now?
I'm actually not sure. I haven't looked at the like the numbers yet. Which is that should be interesting to check out. But I'm sure there is, because there's lots of people who like really thrive on going to shows, and now they're probably like really scrambling to get that sort of entertainment fix. Wait, I lost audio for you, I think.
Yeah, me
Oh,
too.
really? Can you hear me now?
Oh, there you go.
Okay, cool. Um,
Whoa. That's
so like, what have you guys been doing, like, to not go crazy and keep working during this time?
I've been cooking, and I teach music lessons, which I can do remotely, which is really,
Yeah.
really fortunate for that. And it's on. I've kind of gotten the hang of it now. It was kind of awkward at the beginning, just like maybe Zoom interviews are awkward at the beginning. Not saying that this is, but just in general, everything's like so. We all have to adjust to this. But yeah, just playing video games and then writing a lot of music.
Oh, cool.
Definitely thinking a lot about how we can kind of come back differently, not just as a band, but maybe like the entire industry has an opportunity to shift a little bit. Just like any time that you're forced to take a break from something, you kind of like come back with a different mindset. So hopefully we can do that. So I'm trying to stay positive. Although I was really missing playing loud and live the other day. I was just thinking about how like we get into this career just like so many people do, or not even like for money, but you get into it just because you want to make music and play, and then you can't do it. But I think everyone's feeling that, so at least there's some camaraderie and us all having to do this together.
Yeah, like I keep feeling really bad for myself that I can't go do radio shows and stuff, especially because like my term in the job is ending at the end of the school year. Then I'm like, everybody's kind of screwed right now. No one can do what they want to do. So I'm trying to like not have that mindset and like kind of take a step back too.
Yeah, totally.
Have you felt like you're like more creatively inspired right now to write music, or less when you can't go outside?
I've been writing more and more tunes, which has been fun, and I've also been biking, so I'm getting an outdoor fix. It's also quite isolating, which is good,
Yeah.
and it's been beautiful. I don't know what it's like in Bellingham. I bet it's really nice though.
It is, yeah. I've been trying to sit outside more so that I don't feel so crazy, but
Yeah, totally. And it does. If you live like I live with my family, and it's like sometimes you just need to like go pedal to the metal for an hour, or just like get some alone time.
Yeah.
To just like remember, like, oh man, like everything is okay. Just like in common, just like well-being terms. Yeah, I've been writing. I keep thinking like, oh, I'm gonna write a song that's about quarantine. And though anything that I write has been lyrically like kind of about isolation, it's an interesting like topic to write about because it is very everybody's experiencing the same news right now, like you could say, like it's all happening to everyone.
yeah.
So it's like, what does that even mean? What does that mean as a story to tell? Like, I've been reading this fantasy book and they're talking about like stories told. Like, oh, that's an old song with many verses about old stories. I'm like, this is like a moment in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like living in history right now. It's really weird.
So songs, okay. I'll write a song about that,
Probably same here. Just more time to like let my brain go where it wants to go, or just like get in the zone multiple days in a row, which is nice. But I think definitely, at least for us as a band, the ability to like get together and collaborate is really nice. But maybe this is also a good opportunity for us to just like get in our own zones, and then I think it's like look on the bright side too. Just spend the time working on stuff you wouldn't have been able to. So try to make it worthwhile.
Cool. And when were you guys supposed to have like a new album out? Is that a secret, or?
I wouldn't say it's a secret. It's just not announced.
Yeah. So, like, is that being put on hold because of this? Like, it was supposed to come out and now it's not going to, or is it kind of like? You don't know?
No, it's as far as I know, it's still on schedule. I'll this year. I think that's the
Cool.
most information that we can provide
Yeah,
at this
totally.
point.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
It'll be interesting to see what happens like the day like it's like, okay, all concerts are good now, okay, sporting events, big crowded areas, bars, it's all good, go for it. It'll be funny to see if there is a gigantic spike like that month.
Right.
Like
I think there will be. I think it'll be insane.
But yeah, like just because it'll just be like everybody wants to, because we'll just be ready to tour. We'll be like, okay, we have an album, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And everybody also might be doing that. And then it might be like, oh, we got to shut it down again. Oh, dear.
I know.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm worried about that too.
Yeah.
As soon as it's okay, like especially I know people in Bellingham are gonna be itching to go like to the bars and like go out and be social, and I feel like it's gonna be a disaster to do it too quick, you know. But
yeah,
hopefully a lot of people will listen to albums as they come out because they have so much free time to do that too.
Yeah, I've noticed like and like projects, like if people have time for puzzles, people have time for like construction projects or just things that take more time, and you're gonna want to listen to a record or a book on tape or a podcast during those times, right? So you're totally, yeah, people are gonna love it.
Yeah, I know. I've like recently spent more time just like listening to an album in the same way that you would like sit down to watch a movie. Just kind of like pay attention, you know what I mean? Like when Fiona Apple just released a new album the other day, Celestine and I sat on the couch and just like listened to it all the way through and was like, whoa, this is really, really good.
Yeah, I had the same experience with that actually. I woke up like the day it came out and I was like, okay, I'm not going to talk to anyone until I'm done listening to it. And it was really cool. Yeah.
I feel like that's like I don't know, that's an element of a medium that is not so widely appreciated. I want to say these days, but I don't know if I can't speak for like what the record listening environment was like in like the 70s or 80s or whatnot. But like, I feel like today people want like the little bite-sized things that they can have on their playlist or whatever.
Totally.
But I don't know. There's a real art to the full album thing.
Yeah. Let me see what I have to ask. Oh, well, like, what have you guys been listening to during this time? Like, because I've been listening to a lot more music right now. I've been on a Dolly
Parton.
We heard Dolly and then we lost your audio.
Oh no, we can't hear.
Can you hear us?
cut out for a second.
Okay.
But I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, we heard Dolly, and that's I'm assuming Dolly Parton.
Yeah, no, I've been getting it. I've never been like a country listener, you know. Even though I'm from North Carolina, that almost like made me hate country. But now I have all this free time, and I was like, you know, there's something beautiful about her. I got to check it out, and now I'm like obsessed. So that's what
Totally.
Wow. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know, kind of like across the board stuff, like a lot of revisiting kind of old stuff. I mean, like we just talked about, just listening to the new Fiona Apple album, which was great. But then the other day I also sat down and like just listened to the Stereolab album, Dots and Loops, which is like one of my favorite albums. But like, I feel like every time I listen to it, I like find something new in it. You know what I mean? It's just one of those albums that has like so much detail in every little corner. So yeah, always lots of Stereolab. Been trying to like watch more. Oh, actually, yesterday and the day before, Celestine and I just watched this movie, Until the End of the World, which is Celestine's like, oh wow, which is this movie by this guy Wim Wenders, who's this like German kind of art director. I highly recommend you watch it. It's 5 hours long, and he like made it to be the ultimate road movie. And it's just this like really long, like winding journey across like 5 continents, and like this is a really cool movie. But the soundtrack was so good. He contacted a bunch of artists. It was released in 1991 or 2 or something like that, and he just contacted a bunch of artists to get to have each one write a specific song for the movie. And so there's like Peter Gabriel, Talking Heads, Lou Reed is on it. It's there's like the soundtrack is just really, really good. So that's another element.
Wow.
Well, what was it called?
Until the End of the World.
Yeah, I need to watch that.
Oh, it's great. It's on the Criterion Collection, which it's like a paid subscription, but they have a 2-week free trial. And between the two of us, we have 4 emails, so we can get up to 8 weeks for free.
That's sick.
Nice. I guess I've just been listening to this band that Gianni I think introduced me to. It's Deerhoof. More. So it's pretty cool. Some kind of wild music, but it's really just kind of got into them more. Yeah. And other than that, I'm taking like a film scoring online course. So I've been listening to a lot more score and theme music.
Oh, that's cool.
Which one stood out so far?
Gosh, honestly, part of my course so far was watching that part of The Social Network. Remember that movie about Facebook?
Yeah. Oh, really?
Honestly, that's
Trent Reznor?
Yeah, Trent Reznor did it. So it's interesting to listen to musicians who then score versus people who, well, I guess you're a musician if you're, a composer, but people who compose more for film or people who come from like alternative non-film music.
Right.
And just in general, like video game music, theme music is nice. Like there's, the Mario themes, like all the old Nintendo stuff is really insanely well written. But yeah, I guess that would just be, like I've been thinking more about functional music versus like absolute music, is that's how you call it. Like when you go to see, experience music just for its existence, or if it's, aiding something else. It's kind of cool to see what other functions music can serve other than just pure enjoyment of it for its own existence.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Wait, what's this film class thing?
It's a Berkeley Online, just film scoring 101. So it's like 12 weeks. They're not super expensive. I mean, they're kind of expensive, but it's like not like regular college.
Right.
It's like, and you can do them for credit or not for credit, but it's pretty sweet. Each week you have an assignment, and it's like reading, and film is fun because you get to watch clips, so you like analyze the music, like the score and clips, and then write about it. Pretty fun.
Yeah.
The Superman score is pretty insane. The original Superman.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Christopher Reeve, classic film. Anyway.
That makes me think of like the first CD I ever owned was the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
I was literally like 6, and I just would listen to the instrumental so loud. That and like White Stripes album, and that was all I listened to when I was a kid.
Wow, that's a good good duality of music right there.
And that's like something I've been revisiting too. I listened to like the entire White Stripes discography the other day, and thought about how much I listened to them for like an entire day, and that was really nice too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Totally. I feel like
back in touch with like the best band of my life,
Yeah, I feel like White Stripes, like it's not like they were you know, like they're a big band. It's not like they were ignored in any capacity, but like I feel like at the same time they're kind of underrated. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like they're not as like revered as a Foo Fighters or something. You know what I mean?
And I wouldn't even touch Foo Fighters like compared to how much I love the White Stripes, you know?
Right.
It's so weird to work in radio too, because the radio station opened in 1974, and so we get music as it's like relevant in like indie scenes or whatever. We do not have a single White Stripes album in the library anywhere, not a
Really?
record or. And like every time I do a show, I'm like, I know exactly where this song would sound so good, and then we don't have anything. And like I've talked to my boss about it, and she's like, oh, when they were new, like people didn't like them at the radio station. I
Interesting.
think that's
Oh,
Detroit.
yeah.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Each
There's like a podcast out about them too, and it's really cool. It talks all about the Detroit scene. I've been
really?
listening to that. Yeah.
Oh, what's it called?
It's called Striped, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Classic.
They really went out of the box on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that actually like reminds me of another question I had, which is like when I like hear your music, I kind of think about the White Stripes, and I think about like the Detroit scene or like Chicago or something, you know? And I like wonder, like outside of Seattle, where's the biggest place that like people have showed up to see you guys play?
Actually, it is Chicago. Actually, I don't know why, but like that's out of all of the places we played, I'm pretty sure like Chicago, we played this place called the Empty Bottle, which is kind of like I don't know what you would compare it to here. What size is like it's like a little bit bigger than the Sunset maybe.
Yeah. like
Like a chop suey.
300, 400 people or something.
Yeah. Anyway, it's like this kind of like
Buffalo, but smaller. Well, because Chicago is such a big city,
right.
you know. But
Yeah.
But yeah, that show just about sold out, which was really cool. And I feel like every time we go to Chicago, like people are just like hyped. Yeah, I think they just really like rock music there. I mean, among other things, like there's, again, since it's such a big city, I think they just have like a big rock scene as much as like they have other scenes.
Yeah.
High is out of Chicago, and they're
Right.
awesome.
I mean, Post Animal.
And Post Animal, yeah, exactly. Their new record is sweet. It's great. It's well recorded. There's this great song, like number 3. It's Dalton singing, and it's like it almost sounds like an anime theme song.
That's great.
He like his voice is so good, and they're good, and Nihi's good.
I think aside from that, Brooklyn is all, and like New York is always
Oh, yeah.
happening. Again, I think there's just like more people there, so there's more of like a scene for rock. San Francisco.
Yeah,
I think those are like our top 3.
It's like I know like Seattle is like your home base, so a lot of people come out. But I saw you in Vancouver, like in Canada. And I actually asked Grant that question at that show, and he said, "Oh yeah, we get a big turnout in Chicago," and I like wasn't surprised because your music is like so different than a lot of what is coming out in Seattle. Like so much heavier, taking a lot of like different risks. So I'm not surprised that in New York people show up to see that too.
Right.
Well, you're gonna love the next album.
Cool. I'm excited.
I hope. Great.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I'm trying to think what else I haven't asked you. Are there any like other bands you know are doing like live streams and like virtual tours that you would say people watching this should like check out?
Well, our friend and label mate Ron Gallo,
Oh yeah.
he was so on it. Like I'm pretty sure like almost as soon as like the whole stay-at-home orders were announced, he put together thing called Really Nice Fest,
Mm-hmm.
and had us play on it too. And it's like he's just kind of like continuously like doing live streams and hosting people, which is really cool. So yeah, Ron's great for that. I don't know, kind of like I feel like everybody's just kind of going for it nowadays. I know the band Ohm, who are also from Chicago.
Mhm.
I've seen they did a couple, and we were introduced to them through Post Animal because they played a show together that we went to. Yeah, our friends Sloan and Felix from Austin are in a band called Lord Friday the 13th, and they host a weekly every Sunday. Oh, which is today. Every Sunday they do a like live stream kind of variety show. So they'll play some songs and then they have people like do the split screen thing, and like do random stuff like activities, which is kind of
That's
cool.
really yeah.
I don't know if you guys know of any other.
Yeah. Have indie band called Rogue Wave. Their lead singer on Instagram is like I think he like writes most of the songs too, but he's been doing just like IGTV lessons for how to play songs that people just type in the comments of the last lesson video. And I actually learned how to play. Yeah, and it's really good. They're like 3 minutes long, and he's like, yeah, so here's the intro, and it's just like a lesson that you watch on YouTube. But he makes like clearly it's just somebody filming or it's a tripod, and then he just like does the song lessons like, okay, bye. But I've been like watching all those and being like, oh great. No.
You comment, oh great.
I just say it. Oh great.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh,
And to do with drums, but
yeah. Questlove is also doing every day, or like every night he'll do these like super long DJ sets. And I mean he's in New York, so they start at like 4 here, which is like 7 there. But it'll just go kind of like all night. And recently, the past 3 days has been all Prince and like Prince affiliated acts. He's just been like DJing nonstop. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
And it's kind of nice because like every once in a while, like I know when I'm looking for like I like to like watch YouTube or whatever when I do the dishes and when I'm doing like menial tasks.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also like a lot of it's very overstimulating nowadays because there's so much time at home to just like absorb content.
Totally.
But that's something nice that just like it happens every day, and like you don't have to like put any like decision into it. Like you just go put on Questlove's Instagram, and then he's like your personal little DJ. And he also like he'll always like stop tracks and like tell little stories because he's such a like encyclopedic music guy.
Yeah,
I find really fun.
that's super cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've been like doing the world's worst thing and watching like DJ Pauly D from Jersey Shore do live DJ sets on his Instagram.
Oh wow.
It's just so funny because I don't have to think about it at all. I just watch him and I'm like, okay. And he's like shouting out like he's in front of a crowd, but he's by himself.
Wow.
It's so funny. He
I
does
had no idea.
every 3 days. And I've been watching them like with my like the people that I'm quarantined with, and they're just like, this is the most insane thing, but it's like mindless and really
Great.
And now I have something better to focus on because you've given me a lot more suggestions.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you need that kind of mindless stuff too.
Yeah. Well, let me see if I'm missing anything. I feel like I've asked everything I have, so unless you have any other messages for the people watching, then I'm Gucci.
Keep on living, loving, and laughing.
Great. Perfect.
DJ Live, Laugh, Love.
Hashtag.
Drink some water. There you go.
I need to do that actually, very bad.
Yeah, me too. I'm thirsty. I've been eating dry mini wheats, fresh mini wheats, because I ran out of milk. So yeah, I poured them all in the bowl before I realized I was out of milk, so I'm just snacking on them.
Too late now.
Yeah, I don't want to use water.
Ew. Oh my god.
Anyway, yeah, thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so much.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Oh, glad you're
And
happy.
yeah, totally.